This is one of the stories of why everybody in high school thought that I was a hoe. Can we please take a moment to just appreciate that I grew my leg hair out for 2 months just to make this video? Okay, thanks. So I was talking to this boy in high school. This same boy, I don't know if you guys remember, that I got caught making out in the movie theater with. And while I was talking to this boy, I didn't know that he had a girlfriend. And mind you, I was a freshman, so I didn't know any of the gossip or the tea because I just got to that school. So one day in between classes, he texted me and told me to meet him in the stairwell. And obviously this is when the classes were changing, so everybody was in the hallway. But I didn't think it was a big deal because he was talking to me and I didn't really think that people would care that much. So when he was walking down the stairs and I was going up the stairs, we just gave each other a quick little kiss. And there really wasn't that many people in the stairwell when it happened. And right when I was turning the corner to get to the second set of steps, I hear a bunch of girls gasping. And I was so confused why they cared so much until my next class when I got a DM.
I'm having dinner with my sugar daddy when my boyfriend walks into the restaurant. By the way, my sugar daddy did not know I had a boyfriend. As soon as I see my boyfriend walk in, I tell my sugar daddy that I have to go to the bathroom. I literally bolted to the bathroom. As I'm in the bathroom stall freaking out, my boyfriend calls me. So I answer the phone and he says, "Hey, are you at the restaurant? I swear to God, I just saw you run into the bathroom. Who's that guy with you at the table?" I was caught. I had no option but to be honest with my boyfriend. I tell him to come to the bathroom and he comes in and I explain to him that it is my sugar daddy. Then he stares at me for a few seconds and asks me, "How much money does he give you?" I decided to lie and I said 3,000 instead of the 5,000. And my boyfriend says, "Wow." And I'm like, "Aren't you mad?" And he said, "No, you're just gonna have to share now." Excuse me? Then I told him I didn't want to be in the relationship any longer because he's a man-child and I had to pay for everything. Begged me not to leave him and he said that he would get a better job. We're still in the bathroom at this point and my sugar daddy's waiting for me outside. Then my boyfriend says, "If you don't want me to go out there and tell him that you have a boyfriend, you better start giving me some of that money." I was shocked. Part 3 is up.
For most of my life, my sister has been wanting kids, but has been unable to carry a baby to full term in part due to endometriosis. She was in a lot of pain and had to have a hysterectomy. My sister and her husband have fostered 5 children and have adopted 2 children with autism and are great parents. They have a good home environment and are financially very well off, but they've had the urge to have a kid biologically related to them. So they asked me to be their surrogate and said that they would cover all costs associated with it. They would also be paying off my student debt, renting a 2-bedroom apartment for 3 years, plus giving me a substantial amount of cash. I said sure, it'll be 9 months of my life in exchange for being set up for quite some time, and my immediate family thinks it's a great idea. However, when I said sure, I was expecting to get the whole artificial insemination package. But my sister and brother-in-law have asked me to get pregnant the traditional way. The rationale is that 1, it's the cheapest way, 2, they don't have to go to the hospital given the corona pandemic, and 3, babies conceived naturally are healthier and the pregnancy would be safer. Am I going loony for thinking of going back on my word? Is their request reasonable? On the other hand, if I do give this up, I'm also passing up essentially $200,000.
Literally want to cry. So if you didn't know, I have a sister and her name's Ashley and we both have boyfriends. And every night we both fall asleep on the phone with our boyfriends. So one day we're all hanging out and we're like just talking and my sister's boyfriend looks at me and he's like, "You need to stop going into your sister's room in the middle of the night." And I look at him and I'm like, "What are you talking about? I don't have a reason to go into her room. Like, I don't go into her room, especially in the middle of the night." Then my boyfriend hops in the conversation and he's like, no. He's like, "No, I hear Ashley go into Kayla's room every night and stare at her." So me and my sister both look at each other and we're like, we don't go into each other's rooms, do we? And we agreed that we do not. And they said this has been going on for months. So for months, somebody or something has been going into me and my sister's room for about 15 minutes every night and watching us sleep. But it only...
Here's part 2 on how I got catfished by my best friend's dad. Continuing on with the story, my dumb self didn't really think anything of it, so I followed him to his room. He closed the door behind me and he told me to be quiet. I was like, "Okay, what is this surprise that you have for me?" He pulled out his phone and he showed me his Snapchat. And it was the Snap account that I have been snapping for the past couple of weeks. And the same guy that I confessed my love for. Mind you, I'm pretty sure her dad was in his mid-40s at the time. And I was only 12. He told me to give him my phone because I needed to be punished for my actions, so I did. I only did because I was honestly terrified and I had no idea what else to do. He told me since I told him I loved him, I needed to show him that I loved him. And he starts to take his pants off. I turn around and I run out the room and out the house. My house was only a couple houses down, so I ran all the way down to my house and told my mom everything that happened. I don't know if she really believed me, but he ended up convincing us not to press any charges against him. And I was never allowed to see my best friend nor him ever again. P.S. I never got my phone back and we had to move again.
was raised by parents who believe religiously and just culturally in rigid gender roles. Dad should work, mom should stay home and raise the kids. I'm the only girl and I have 3 brothers. Because of their expectation I would just get married and stay home and raise kids, they never valued my education. They never valued my educational achievements or emphasized things beyond domestic skill. I'm the second youngest, and by the time I was in high school, my 2 older brothers had gone to the college of their choice, with my parents covering full tuition, books, and off-campus apartment and other living expenses. They eventually did the same for my younger brother, and I was told I wasn't allowed to apply for college. I did so in secret and got accepted with a partial scholarship. I didn't tell them I was moving out until a week before I left. With essentially nothing, the only things I had were things my friends had given to me that their parents bought for them for college. I took engineering and had to work, take on a debt, and struggle. My parents and I have barely spoken in years. I'm married now and expecting our first child, and they asked to meet up. We met at a park and they said they were sorry if they caused me pain, but would like a relationship now. I'm 24 years old and I recently married my childhood sweetheart. We had a pretty small wedding due to the global situation, but it was planned well in advance so we didn't cancel, just kept it to family. And we planned to have a party with everyone else at a later date. For some background on my husband, his parents had him pretty young. They were both 18 and 19 and he has a very close family. Our wedding reception was quite intimate, but we had the traditional speeches planned. Father of the bride, best man, which was my husband's brother, and the groom. It was only the day before that my mother-in-law asked if she could have the mic to say a few words when we sat down to eat. And we said this would be great, big mistake. Stupid us. We figured she would talk about us at our wedding, so we never asked what she plans to say. She announced to all of our guests that she's expecting a baby. She's still pretty young and very healthy, but it was a huge shock that just completely took over the night. What's even worse for me is that I'm also pregnant and we plan to announce it at the wedding, but I told my husband to just leave it out of the speech. I really felt a bit sour for me after that. After the wedding, I didn't speak to my mother-in-law for a few days, and I got a call from her sister to ask what's up. I explained that I felt like the attention was taken away from us without our permission. I would have said no.
This is what I found out when my childhood phone was a ghost. I grew up with a girl named Katie Box. I lived on a farm and she lived with a girl named my friend in the next house over. Katie and I weren't related, but whenever I asked Katie about her, she would just change the subject. It seemed like they never got along because they never talked to each other. Katie seemed really sheltered, and I thought it was because Irene didn't let her do much. Whenever I would talk about boys or a new celebrity crush I had, or even a new popular TV show, she never knew what I was referring to. A while later, my mom told me Katie was home and was on the phone, so she didn't take me to Katie's house until I didn't watch me. I remember wanting to go over to see Katie, and I asked my mom a few times, but she always said no. I eventually made new friends, and me and Katie grew apart. A couple years went by, and I started to realize I never saw Katie around anymore. She used to talk about her dad Pat a lot, so I assumed she went to live with him. I saw her outside one day, and I asked her how Katie was doing and where she'd been. However, she just looked at me like I was crazy. She told me that she had no idea who Katie was, and I wasn't upset with her. I told Irene about how we used to play together in the house, and she gave me a weird look and asked me if I was kidding. This is when things
He argued that he wasn't lying. I said, well, he wasn't the one who went through the difficult birth experience, that I was struggling for 9 months of intense symptoms and my birth was extremely difficult. I've never experienced anything more difficult in my life, and I'm still recovering. I'm not trying to minimize his struggle, but whatever he's dealing with, I'm suffering 10 times more than him despite the physical and emotional stress. I keep my mouth shut and just get things done. He snapped, saying he couldn't believe I made it all about me and that he's in the right to be able to vent and say whatever he wants whenever he pleases. I asked him what's up with the attitude. He's making me look bad to everyone and that is not okay. I asked him please stop or get himself some therapy if he's feeling overwhelmed. He looked at me shocked and then argued that I needed to stop policing his words and opinions and trying to tell him what to feel and how to deal with it. He went into the office and minutes later I saw a new post from him talking about me thinking he's not doing enough and acting as if me going through childbirth makes me a better parent than he is. I thought he was just venting, but I had family and friends reaching out asking if my husband is okay and why I was making him overwork and not giving him a break.
If a website ever asks you these questions, don't do what she did. Once there was a girl named Masha who heard that there's a new service that gives everyone free internet access. So she decided to use it, but this would lead to something horrifying for Masha and her family. After she connected to this internet service, a web page popped up asking her to register some information, but the questions were oddly personal. It asked, what's your usual mode of transportation? With a photo of a bus, a boat, a train, and a plane. Masha took her bike to school every day, so she clicked on the train instead. But the next day, the local news showed that there was a horrific train crash that killed everyone on board. Masha thought that this was a coincidence, but soon she'd realized that she made a deadly mistake. Later, she needed to use the internet again, so she logged back in. This time it asked, what kind of home do you live in? Along with 4 different pictures of different types of homes. She clicked apartment even though her and her family lived in a house. And the next day, the apartment building near her school burned down. The police suspected arson. Then she went back to the internet server one last time, but this time it showed a photo of her mother, father, sister, and herself with the question, who is your favorite family? Do you know someone who wants to be around you all the time? For one newly married couple, this quickly turned into something more terrifying. So this couple got married and moved into their new house together. Soon the husband noticed that his wife became more attached to him than usual, as in she wouldn't be able to spend one moment away from him. She said, when you're not at home, I still feel you near me. I hear you calling my name. He just thought that she was being sweet, but the truth is not so simple. One day after he got back from work, his wife said, I think there's something wrong with me. You walked from the kitchen to the bedroom and was staring out the window all day. But the husband knew that he was at work all day. Over the next